Hello, welcome. Today I'm very excited to talk to you about preparing for learning at home, and it's part one. I'm going to do at least 3 episodes on preparing for learning at home in the new brave school year that we are entering, and some of us have already entered. And today I'm going to be focusing on a brilliant positive discipline tool called mistakes as opportunities to learn. And while I have pretty much always been an excited, enthusiastic, lifelong learner, I have not always brought this attitude of mistakes as opportunities to learn to my parenting. I have it today, but for years and years and years, I did not have it. And I'd like to start out by just unpacking a little bit of why I see that that is true for many parents. Now, there could be many, many reasons, but the most common reason that I have seen in the parents that I work with, and I saw it in myself as well, is that attitude was not something that was modeled for me when I was a child. The attitude that was more modeled for me was one of, this is the right way, and you're doing it the wrong way. And you need to change because I know the right way and you're doing it wrong. No matter what I saw, even if someone else was doing it the wrong way, it was a do as I say, not as I do kind of an environment. And all of our parents did the very best that they could. So no judgment at all. But it's not something that we saw as an attitude that was modeled for us as children. Therefore, it wasn't wired in to our belief system, to our subconscious mind as young children. Anything that's wired in as young children is kind of easy. It's like the default, it's the autopilot. And so even if we love learning in other areas of our lives, I've seen this for many others and myself, even if we have that attitude in other parts of our lives, we can have a different attitude as a parent because that was what we took in and the meanings that we gave it. Like, okay, mom and dad must be right. This must be the right way to be as a parent. And so therefore, that's what I am defaulting to as the parent myself. Even if I don't consciously as an adult believe that, it's my subconscious that's running that show. So just even bringing that into our awareness is very liberating, can be very liberating if we let it be, okay? So what happens when we have that attitude, and I'm going to speak for myself here, years ago, and in some cases, in some topics, months ago, when I would show up and I would be like, this is the right way, I wouldn't be allowing myself to make a mistake. I wouldn't be accepting of myself making a mistake because I was so in belief and hardcore belief about the right way. And so if I couldn't accept that in myself because there was this perfection standard, I'm certainly not going to be in acceptance for someone else, and I'm going to be judging them against this expected perfection. So in that way, I see it all the time, and I've noticed it, and I look back on what I used to do historically with my kids on some topics, like even dishes in the sink, okay? It would be like, get your dishes out of the sink. Well, I saw this dish in the sink, and so I thought that that's where we were putting them now. No, this one is here soaking. Get yours out of the sink. So not, oh, let me explain that. Yes, I've been soaking this and I forgot to, clean it now that it's been soaking and get it out. Let's get our dishes together. It was, no, this is, do as I say, not as I do. Guilty as charged. Okay. So in that way, sort of continuing a cycle of judgment with the expectation that nobody should be making mistakes because we don't accept them in ourselves. So that judgment propagates, or that attitude propagates judgment, criticism, comparison. It's kind of a critical voice that I, as a parent, was being, right? I was a critical voice as opposed to a supportive voice. I was being a critic instead of a model, like modeling, oh yeah, I did it too. Let's go and do this together. Let's both make progress together, and I can be supportive in that way. So what now, I've already admitted to you, right, that there's been a lot of this in my past too. So now I do go out of my way to say, oh, this is what I discovered. This is what happened. Let me share this with you. This is what I learned. And what I really want to convey here is that I'm not sharing that to teach them what I learned. Because I could have learned, hey, that, honey drips out of the honey jar and I'm the one that's responsible for all the stickiness all over the floor, even though I thought it was you. So yeah, I learned that, but what I'm really doing when I come to them with something like that, with my family, with my kids, I'm modeling admitting to imperfection. I am modeling admitting a mistake and using it as an opportunity to make progress and learn. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm sharing it. I'm not sharing that to teach them about the honey. Okay. I'm teaching it to share a different kind of way to be, a different, modeling a different way to be. And now I'm going out of my way to do that, because if you've been listening, I have teenagers. So I can see the clock ticking away, right? In 1 year, my older is going to be graduated high school. I don't know what's going to happen yet. Stay tuned. In 3 years, my younger will graduate high school. So I can see that there is a finite amount of time I have with them, and I want to be modeling as much as possible, and as well as possible now, some of these traits, in the hopes that they will carry memories with them, and that some of the blueprint that they might have from what I was modeling earlier, at least there's a little bit of room for, oh, there's a different possibility. This is not the right way, but there's another way that's possible to be. And so there's another thing that I want to say about this too. When we can articulate mistakes and use them as opportunities to learn, that really allows for some expansion, right? As opposed to a judgment that really casts shame, or contraction. Like, it's shame if I'm judging someone else. If I'm not admitting it even to myself, then it doesn't allow expansion, it's more contraction, okay? And the energy that we can bring when we admit a mistake is we're allowing for expansion. We can bring an energy of curiosity, and we can take a look at, well, wow, what are the beliefs I have about this, and what are the meanings that I'm bringing to this? So there was some stickiness on the floor, and I immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was you who made the mess and caused the stickiness and all of this, and that's because I didn't think that I could make a mistake. Well, it turns out I can, and I'm sorry. And the same thing with the dishes in the sink, right? These are just my two kitchen examples. I'm full of kitchen examples today. So why is this tool, why am I talking about this tool and sharing this tool, mistakes as opportunities to learn, in connection with prepping for learning at home? Well, our kids are going to be spending a lot more time at home than they have, most of our kids, okay, than they have in previous school years. And the extent to which we can recognize that nobody is perfect, nobody has this all figured out, not a single person, and we can allow ourselves to make a mistake, that takes some pressure off, right? So that's fantastic. And if we can also not only take the pressure off of ourselves, but really take some of that pressure off of our kids by modeling and just having a different energy around how we're going to be together in the house and what the schedule is going to look like, then that's really wonderful. And that's what I wanted to bring today, as the first episode around prepping for learning at home. I don't even want to say homeschooling, because most people are not doing what's really homeschooling. They're doing virtual learning and distance learning. Sure, there's some people that have always been doing homeschooling. Some people will newly be doing homeschooling. But if you are not in charge of the curriculum, if your child is really attending school, but they're doing that online, that's not homeschooling. That's learning at home. It's virtual learning. It's distance learning. So I look forward to bringing you a little bit more that can help you with learning from home in the next few episodes, and drawing on some of the things that I learned as a Montessori teacher, and also from a child development stage standpoint. Until then, bye for now.